Okay, today we're doing a resume review of a customer operations manager, virtual manager. They've had a number of roles. So this will be an interesting one for us to take a look at today. So they have their location at the bottom. That's fine. I actually don't mind the idea of a two column layout if it adds value to the resume in question. I think the issue that I have with this resume from a formatting perspective is the fact that we have the professional skills, which has really long list of a bunch of stuff, and this open gap here next to it. When text is aligned to the right, it doesn't look right. It kind of looks strange to me. I would suggest aligning everything to the left instead, as a first pass. I would also include your location higher up. So if you have your name and surname and the types of roles you're looking for, this is great. You should also include your location, and make that pretty clear as well. Contact information, pretty good. The only thing that I would do is I would make the LinkedIn a hyperlink instead. So that instead of including the whole URL, just use LinkedIn as anchor text and use the hyperlink. So turn it into a hyperlink, so it just looks cleaner. I would also highly suggest that you remove any generic skills. So Excel, excellent under pressure, all this stuff. It's what everybody kind of wants. So just remove it. It doesn't aid to your application in any way, in my opinion. The list of tools that you've used is great. Linear, Notion, product management, and for documentation, Claude for AI, Monday for project management, etc. So you've got a good set of software. I wouldn't call them skills per se. I would have a separate section, call it software, and then list all your software under there, and then have skills. And instead of listing generic skills, list the actual technical skills that you employ in your day-to-day work. So for example, if you do QA testing, that is technically a skill, so that should probably appear. What else could we see here? So, okay, built customers inbound structure as Zendesk. Okay, so you do customer operations and you help them to set up their Zendesk infrastructure. That's something that could also be mentioned here. If you're able to improve NPS, that should be included here as well. So things like that should be included. I'm not sure what you mean by this, where you have block and then graphic and web design. I think this is probably like the template that you use probably needs to be edited, unless I'm misunderstanding it. Okay, this is improving the university. That makes sense. Honestly, this is meant to be a blog, but yeah. So there's that. And on the right side, what do we have? Okay, so the one concern that I see here from the employer's perspective is that you've had a number of roles over the last 5 or 6 years and nothing quite consistent. This is something that I would use against you, but I know that there are employers who would. And also some of the roles do overlap, which I've noticed. So it seems like these 3 roles are all overlapping at the same time, unless they're all part-time roles, in which case that's fine. But I think if that is the case, you should write out that this is a full-time role, this is in person, this is hybrid, this is remote, this is part-time or full-time role to be mentioned. And I would definitely bold the most important metrics. So managing groups of up to 300 students, 1,200 visits, those things should be bolded. It speaks to the scale of the work in which you're able to execute. Everything else that is generic and is just about a day-to-day stuff probably shouldn't be included. So use Salesforce to manage customer accounts in CRM. I'm like, it doesn't really tell me much or tell me anything. I'm more curious about, well, how many accounts have you been able to manage? How many accounts and contacts in CRM was you responsible for, and did you have to update? I care about that. And then the same goes for the others. So if you've been able to improve inventory efficiency by 70%, I think that's incredible. Yeah, this one is actually probably the most important one in terms of what I can see, in terms of the way that it's written. I think this one is written quite well. Improved inventory efficiency by 70% by coordinating product orders and deliveries across 50 plus storage units in partnership with the supply chain team. That's great. So your bullets should all look like that. Manage the 14-member offshore CX team, including this, while maintaining an NPS score of 80 plus. That's also pretty good too. So this should go first. Move this one up over here because it's more important. It speaks to the scale better. And each of these should have some kind of outcome. So you directed the user research programs for product improvements and marketing campaigns, partnered with the creative directors and the CPO, which helped to shape the product roadmap strategy. This is awesome. There must have been some data points that you found through that user research spec that you did. Mention that here. Mention that at the front as well. I think these are the types of things that you need to do with that. Inbound sales maintaining a 62% conversion rate. That's pretty good. That's actually quite awesome, if I'm being honest. So what I think is really great about your resume is that it's clear that you're an experienced person and that you tend to thrive in small teams. So you need to highlight that more often in the other areas of your experience where you have to don't mention the impact. You need to mention the impact more. The rest of it looks good. I think that the main challenge is just the crossover with the dates. But other than that, everything else looks good to me. Led up to 10 daily rock climbing and zipline tours. Nice. So it clearly tells me that you have a strong customer success and sales approach, and you would thrive in CS and sales roles. And so therefore, okay, yeah, customer operations manager, exactly. This is pretty good. I think it's pretty good on the whole. There's just some of those formatting issues. I think just the left side needs to be completely reworked, and then you need to fix your dates and at least be able to explain that away. And then also, the other thing I want to mention is in some cases you have too many bullets. So here you have 5 bullets for this role, despite it only being a 6-month role. This one also has 5 as well. This one has 6. So these could be reduced to about 3 or 4 max. But when you have a number of roles, you don't need to include so many bullets per role. I think 3 to 4 maximum, and each one should be able to stand on its own as a powerful statement that tells employers that, hell yeah, I want to hire this person. But that's pretty much it. I think if you implement those changes, you should be able to improve your chances at getting interviews. And remember that your resume is a marketing document, so it needs to be able to be clear at a glance the types of roles that you're applying for, which you do have here, but also why you are a good fit for the organization you have applied to. And nothing should be left to assumption by a hiring manager. But that's pretty good. Thanks a lot. Any questions, just let me know and I'll get back to you. Thanks.